All right, so we're going to be taking a look at the monopoly here. You know, we've gone over this graph a whole mess of times, okay? And hopefully you're getting to the point where you're kind of sick of it, and if you're sick of it, maybe you aren't even watching this. But if you've been confused or whatever, let's try to keep things simple, okay? First of all, the firm is going to always produce at max profit, which is where MR equals MC, okay? Now this is a key intersection, but remember this is not the price over here, okay? So while this quantity of max profit is absolutely super critical, this over here is nothing. So you gotta ignore that, go up from here and go vertical until you get to the demand curve because price is always on the demand curve. I think that will be a question. Price is always on which curve? Oh, Mr. Gallows said it 50,000 times, price is always on the demand curve. Then that comes in handy. Is this the price? No, because that's not the demand curve. There's the demand curve, there's your price. All right, here's my average total cost. So this is gonna be my region of profit right here. Okay, this green area. Okay, and there's no firms joining or leaving. This is the monopoly. It is synonymous with the industry. The industry graph and the monopoly, the firm, are the same thing, and it doesn't change. Okay, so that's our key thing to start. Max profit, and then this big chief triangle up here is my consumer surplus. All right, this rectangle here is total revenue, okay, up to the price. Up to here is the total cost, and that's why this gap in here is going to be the profit. Okay, the difference between total revenue and total cost. All right, so we still have rectangles when we're dealing with the monopoly. So we're done with that. Now let's move out over to the other key intersections. Okay, that's really what we're looking for. We're looking for intersections. Don't memorize the order of things. A good one to always look for, because it's right here by itself, is the unit elastic one, which is highest total revenue. And it also serves as a dividing line between elastic and inelastic. All right, so everything to the left of here is elastic. So as I mentioned, max profit is always in the elastic region. Okay, these other three, okay, we don't know for sure. It depends on where they fall. In this situation, normal profit, allocative efficiency, and productive efficiency are all in the inelastic region. Okay. The next key point I want to look at after unit elastic, remember it's highest total revenue as well, is allocative efficiency. Okay. And allocative efficiency is where MC hits the demand curve. It's also socially optimal and perfect competition. So ESOP, okay, allocatively efficient, socially optimal, perfect competition. If the market was in perfect competition, this would be the price and quantity that it would produce at, is what that means. But it's not perfect competition, but if it was, that would be where it would produce, okay? And then we can surmise from the allocatively efficient point that the deadweight loss is always the triangle going back to the quantity of max profit. Okay, I'm not going to draw it in because it's going to get too messy. Here, I have another intersection where ATC hits the demand curve. Price equals average total cost right here. So that's my normal profit. Economic break even, economic profit equals 0. Okay, it doesn't really play any role other than that's what it means. All right, and then the last one, and it's not always the last one, but here where MC hits ATC at its lowest point, that's the productively efficient point. Okay, somebody asked, quite justifiably so, is there excess capacity in a monopoly? Yes, there is, but we're not going to worry about it because AP doesn't really worry too much about it. But now that I have said it and they secretly record my tapes, they're going to have it on the AP exam. But we'll worry about that later. Okay, so that's the monopoly graph. I might ask a question like, if the firm produced at the allocatively efficient quantity, would they earn a profit? Well, I have to take a look at here here's allocatively efficient, here's the price, and the average total cost is above it, so I'd have to do the calculation, but that would be a loss at the allocatively efficient quantity. So there's an explanation why a firm wouldn't want to produce at the allocatively efficient quantity. They could lose money in a market where they are clearly going to be profitable if they just produce at this quantity. Okay. All right. I think we've covered pretty much everything here. Let's move on to discriminating monopoly. I'm going to make a big mess out of this graph here. Actually, I'll just keep it the same so we can just compare it directly. So what happens is now I've got Mr. Darp is back for the discriminating monopoly. Okay, so now this is no longer the quantity of max profit because the MR is not here. All right, the MR equals MC is now at this allocatively efficient quantity. So what's going to happen is we're going to produce more. We went from here to here in production. So that's the benefit to the consumer. That's the primary benefit, is there's more product now available. Most of the news is bad. A discriminating monopoly has no consumer surplus. All right. There is more revenue for the firm. There is more profit for the firm. All right. Some good news potentially for society is there's no deadweight loss. So it is technically allocatively efficient. I have to kind of swallow hard when I say that because it is so bad for the consumer, but because there is no deadweight loss, it's technically considered allocatively efficient. So this trapezoid here, this big, huge trapezoidal region, that's now my total revenue. And all of that benefit is going to the producer. All of the surplus is going to the producer from the market. All right? The only benefit really for the consumer is an increase in availability of the product so more people can buy it. But these people up here are really getting taken for a lot of money in price. Okay? All right, there you have it. Discriminating and non-discriminating monopoly in 8 minutes. I wish you the best on the test. Don't forget, I'm gonna have to make another video. Nah, that's all right, I won't. Don't forget about shutdown situation. Okay, if price is less than average variable cost, that's a shutdown situation. Don't forget that the marginal cost curve is the supply curve, but only above average variable cost. Okay, below average variable cost is not part of the supply curve because there's a shutdown below average variable cost. So marginal cost is the supply above average variable cost. Make sure you know economic profit, accounting profit versus normal profit, and then implicit and explicit costs. Okay, I think you'll be in good shape. You know, as always with the test, right? Take a deep breath, okay? The test is your tool to get answers right, process of elimination. You don't have to get every question right. Vocabulary things are really things that should be gimmies, right? If I ask what's the one word to describe how firms interact in an oligopoly, should have interdependence, that should be a 10-second thought in your mind. And by answering those things quickly, it allows more time to make calculations on more difficult questions. Okay, I wish you the best. First period, you come in a little bit early, you know, maybe 5-10 minutes early, we can get you started. 11th period, you can stay a little bit late. 3rd period, we'll do what we can, okay? And as always, I want you to do well.